Thank you for coming. My name is Carolina de Bartolo, and I am here to run this session called Using AI Tools to Artfully Upscale Images. If you're looking for me out there in the digital world, you can usually find me on all the social media at Caro de Bartolo. So just my abbreviation of my first name and last name. I am a mentor here at Designlab, and I was a teacher at Academy of Art in San Francisco for over 20 years and wrote a book on typography called Explorations in Typography. So if you're interested or know about any of those things, maybe we can cross paths again. And lately I've been using a lot of AI to make my own personal artwork. So that's how I kind of got informed about how to teach other people about using these AI tools, because I have a background in teaching, and then I've been kind of exploring these AI tools quite a lot. So a couple of guidelines for the session today. Please stay on mute unless I ask you not to. Questions are certainly welcome. And yes, please, if you're joining us and you didn't hear me mention, please introduce yourself in the chat and say hello. Let me know who you are, and if you have any questions and where you're coming to us from would be great to know. If we have time, we'll do Q&A at the end. I'm pretty sure we will have that. So just use the chat. You don't have to use the Q&A function that they have in Zoom. Just use the chat. We'll put everything in there. It'll be easier. And last but not least, this is a safe space. So please be mindful and respectful of other people's opinions. This session is hosted by Designlab. So for those of you who aren't familiar, Designlab is an online educational organization focused on helping new and established designers build their careers in digital design. If you're interested in taking your design career to the next level, reach out to the admissions team, and you can write to them at admissions@designlab.com. So on to some of our best practices for upscaling images. Oh, I see a couple people checked in. Cincinnati and New Orleans. Thank you, thank you. So using AI tools to upscale images. Couple things that this is what I've found to be the best, that works the best for me. And I've done a fair amount of upscaling with at least one of these tools. I haven't used the other ones that I'm going to show you today as much. But the first thing I would say is, if you have an image that for any reason has something wrong with it, like there's a big black mark somewhere on somebody's face, or I don't know, there's something that you know that you're going to have to Photoshop out of there. I would do it on the low resolution images. That way, if you are upscaling them and actually making a pretty high resolution image, you'll have fewer pixels that need to be adjusted, and the AI will kind of smooth over any imperfections in your changes. So if you make changes, then hopefully the AI won't make them worse. It'll actually kind of smooth them over. So if you have red eye, or if there's some part of the image, like I say, that just isn't right for any reason, then I would fix that up. A lot of times, if you have an image that you have made using an AI tool, it can be relatively small, and that's one of the reasons why these upscalers are becoming popular, is because the AI makes actually relatively small images. However, within each tool, very often you have upscalers, but sometimes you want something else upscaled that doesn't come directly out of the AI tool. So I would correct any issues on the low res image, and usually I would use Photoshop. If you have other techniques or tools that you use, go for it, but I usually use Photoshop for that. And then you can choose your AI tool based on whether you want greater fidelity or greater creativity relative to the original image. So a lot of times when I've used upscalers, I actually want my image to look pretty much like it did. I just want it a higher resolution so that it could be printed larger, so that it could be shown on a larger screen and it won't look pixelated. So I usually like greater fidelity. And the newer versions of these AI upscalers, a lot of times they also give you the opportunity to add AI creativity to your image. So I'll show you some examples of how that works. And if you want to do it, that's cool. Go for it. If you really want something that just keep the image pretty much exactly the way it is, but make it bigger, then that's a higher fidelity. So that's a particular tool that I recommend for that. Which I'll get to in a moment. And then a lot of these tools have settings within them, so you have to be careful to select your settings. Of course, you can always adjust your settings and just re-upscale it again. But select your upscale settings, such as how big do you want this image? So the resolution of the image, sometimes it's just a multiplier, so it'll just be 2 times larger, 3 times larger, or sometimes it actually gives you the opportunity to say you would like this image to be 3,000 pixels wide, or you would like this image to be 10,000 pixels tall, or something. That would be a huge image. So you can make your selections with all the different settings that you might have. There's noise reduction. There's one that's called face recovery. Each tool has different settings that you can try. And again, sometimes you might find that some of them, randomly work, like there's no faces in this image, but when I turn on face recovery, ta-da, like it looks better. So you can play with them and see what ends up working for you. Um, the other thing I will mention is to upscale in increments if you're upscaling more than about 4 times the size of your original image. So for example, I had a very small image and I wanted to upscale it, quite large, instead of saying, okay, I want this image to go from, 300 pixels square to 3,000 pixels square, I might upscale it just by 2 times and see how it does. And then from that 2 times greater image, then I might upscale it a little bit more, a little bit more. So you might have to do a few steps to keep it so that it doesn't just randomly make something different. Because if something is very pixelated and small, it may or may not be able to give you a faithful reproduction as it gets a lot larger, as it adds a lot more pixels. So go slow, and upscale in increments if you're really going from something quite small to something quite large. And then, of course, once you have made your upscale image, I, again, would pull that image off, download it and pull it into Photoshop and just check it. Because there are things that will happen sometimes, just like with any AI tool. Sometimes something happens. There's, again, like black marks on somebody's face, and you just have to, Photoshop those out. You can use the healing brush tool, for example, to quickly get rid of some, random dots that might show up or something like that. So always, check your corrected image and make sure that it actually is good, when you zoom in and look around. And then don't forget that, a lot of times people think, oh, AI, click, click, and it's done, right? Isn't that supposed to be the way it works? It's not. It's still an iterative process. You're still going to have to try things, try again, try and fail, and then keep iterating. And eventually you'll get better at it and eventually get quicker at it. But when you're starting out, usually you kind of try and fail and find yourself having to redo stuff. Okay. Any questions so far? Let's see if anybody else checked in. New Orleans, yes. And Christian from Los Angeles, hello. Okay, so the first tool I will tell you about today is called Topaz Gigapixel. So Topaz, I think, is the brand, and then Gigapixel is the product. If you ask me, I think this one is really good for fidelity to the original image. This is the original one that I started using. This is, and by the way, you can find it and learn more about it at topazlabs.com. This particular one, they have certain ones that are just for noise reduction alone and certain ones that are just for blur reduction and things like that. But I've been using this one called Gigapixel, which just sort of upscales the images. This is an old time desktop app. So you pay your $99, you download it, and then it's yours forever, and you can just keep playing with it. And so you can see, I'll walk you through an image upscale with using this tool, but you can see how it's kind of pixelated on this side, and then on this side is the upscaled version, so it's got a lot crisper. This one is one of the ones that has it's called face recovery. So one thing that the AI can do sometimes is when you have a realistic image, a photograph of someone, the AI can start making it look like a drawing or like an illustration. And so if you use face recovery, it usually keeps it to be looking more like a actual human face and skin. That's what I noticed. The other tool that I'll show you today is called Magnific.ai. To me, my opinion, I haven't used this a lot, but this one is best for adding creativity to the original image. So you can see, for example, this little example that I took a little screen capture of from their site. This one you use in browser, and it is a subscription model. It is $39 a month, which I think is in the range of what I pay for the entire Adobe Creative Suite. So it's pretty expensive. But if this is what you need, then that's what you need. So I had this image, and you can see it on this side, and it was super abstract textures. And then I told it, hey, upscale it and give me some creative results. And it started making, flowers and water and stuff like that. So if you're after that, to use the AI to, really redesign something, kind of remake an image into something else, or add a lot more detail to it and more realism to it, probably, then you can use this tool. And this tool has quite a lot of controls in it. There's an AI artist named Claire Silver, and she had posted this on her Twitter feed. Um, so she had this image. I mean, I don't know where this original image came from, but I assume she made this image using AI, and then she ran it through Magnifique and got this image. So you can see how it took the original image and it just, really added a lot of detail to this image as it upscaled. So to me, Magnifique is quite good for that. And if that's what you need to do, you can always subscribe. You don't have to subscribe continuously. You can subscribe for a month, and then if you don't need it the next month, you can save your $40. And then last but not least, I will show you also this tool called Visual Electric. Visual Electric we used last week if you were here for the session that I did last week. And in some ways it might be the best of both worlds, right? Because it has some of the qualities of Magnific, as far as I can tell, where you can change the creativity levels. It doesn't have all the kinds of crazy controls that Magnific has. It seems to Magnific has a lot of controls in there. And you can upscale only by multiples, so it's 2, 3, or 4 times multiple. But of course, if you need it even bigger, as I mentioned, you would just go up by 2 times and then up by 2 times again, and you should be able to get bigger and bigger images. If you want more creativity, my experience so far, and again, this is pretty new. I think they only released this part of their tool maybe a couple of weeks ago now. Is that you would need to tell it in your prompt, when you're upscaling, this is the kind of thing I'm looking for you to do. So you can add creativity by telling it, as you, when you put an extra prompt in there. So you can turn the creativity way down and get a more fidelity, an image with more fidelity, or you can turn the creativity way up, put a prompt in there, and then get something that's a version of the image that has more creativity added by the AI. So this is just an image that I had made with AI, and then I upscaled it by 2, 3, and 4 without adding any prompts. So I can show you that one up close when we get to Visual Electric. Visual Electric is a subscription model, but it is quite a lot less. It's only $20 per month. And for those of you that are here today, just like last week, I'm going to give you this coupon code for today's attendees. So if you're here today and you would like to give Visual Electric a try, you can use Designlab as a coupon code when you subscribe, and you'll get $20 off your subscription, and that's equivalent to 1 month for free. So thank you to Visual Electric for sponsoring that. Let's see. Questions, comments. Let me just check. Is there recording? I was registered, but I missed it. I think that's up to Designlab. Not sure about that recording, but I think they do eventually intend to release a recording. Try to use a coupon code and it tells me it's expired. Maybe write to Visual Electric and see what's going on there. Because that, again, it wouldn't be me. That's Visual Electric's side of things, but it should be okay. They should have activated it, and I did check with them about it again today, so they should have it for you guys. So, but check with them if it's not working, because that is something they offered everyone that attends these 2 sessions. So let me go over here to the first tool I wanted to show you, the one that has the most fidelity, which is called Topaz Gigapixel. And you can see on this one what I have done. Like I can go back to the single view, that's the whole image. If I just click on this image, it goes back to the pixelated version. I don't know how easy that is to see by way of the video recording, right? If it's kind of subtle, because it does a pretty good, high fidelity adjustment there. So, and then you can see it side by side like this as well. So it's a split view where I can actually move this along, and I can see if I can just check different parts of the image and see how much it has adjusted things. So, and this one, you can scale it by multiple, or you can put in a particular number of pixels you want it to be width by height, which is really handy if you are trying to get a bunch of images that are a variety of sizes and you just need them all upscaled and make them all the same size. So that's kind of nice. You have this part of the tool over here where you can turn it off, and you can just select anything you want. You can see over here it's going to be updating to the standard model. Or, this one is really for more like a line drawing, but you could try it and see what happens. Not too bad on this image, but you can already see it has a little bit of like a pattern and some of these shadows over here. So that might not be the very best, but you can try these different models and see how it upscales for you, or you can turn on this automated one and it will kind of read the image and then tell you what it thinks you ought to use. Similarly with these settings, you can just have the AI choose for you, or you can adjust them on your own. You can move them back and forth. And you can see how this thing is like every time I move those things, it kind of redraws the image and shows me what it will look like with those different settings. Once I find that I like the way the image is looking overall, then I can just save the image. And so it'll ask me, where do I want to save it to and what location and so forth and what I want to name the file. So it's pretty easy to use. Nobody taught me. I just picked it up. By the way, you also have cropping if you want to, crop the image in here. And because your image is, you actually want this kind of headshot. You don't want the whole scene of his. You can see the larger image here is like him in an office. So if I just wanted the cropping, then I could crop it and so forth. And then that way the cropped image will actually be that, 6,000 pixels wide and so forth. So let's see. I'm going to mention a free one at the end that I never used, but I heard it was good from Claire because when I was looking for those images on Claire's Twitter feed, I I ran across a tweet that she mentioned there was a free upscaler that she likes. So there's Topaz Gigapixel. Any questions on that one? Would you like me to try it out for you and show you on one image? I think maybe I'll wait until the end and make sure we have enough time because I'm going to show you the other two tools first. So here's Magnifique. This one's kind of cool because you can also just, you can see. So there's my original image, and then there's what it did to it to add more creativity. And I've done a couple of these just to play with it and see. It wasn't what I was looking for. I wasn't looking for I actually like my original image, my kind of fuzzy image. So that's one thing that's kind of nice about Gigapixel is that you can tell it over here. Oops, let me go back to this one if I can. You can tell it to remove the blur or not. Like if you like the blurry image, you can keep it and you can keep more kind of graininess. The noise is kind of like graininess in there, or you can take it out entirely. But like I say, sometimes you take out the blur, you take out the noise, you remove sort of the poetry of the image a little bit. So I'm making artwork, so a lot of times I like some of those qualities left in. But you can see this one how, for example, I move this over. I mean, it was just a real soft abstract image, and then it turned it into like leaves and flowers and stuff. And then you have all these tools. So this one, again, it's just by multiples, but you can go all the way up to 16x. You pull your image in here. You have all these different styles you can go for. So if your image is a soft portrait, a hard portrait, art, videos, video game type stuff. So it has all these different settings over here. You may or may not want to use them. You can try them all. You may or may not want to add a prompt. You do not have to. You can just show it the image and say, give me that. And then here's where you would change the creativity. So creativity down is going to be more fidelity to the image. Creativity up is going to be more, additional things added to the image. One thing that's kind of nice about this tool is that once you do it, you see at the top here, I had set it to 2x. I used the standard. I had creativity at 6, and then I did HDR. I can't remember what they all do, but I read them. They have these little info buttons. It increases definition and detail, although very high values can result in images with an artificial appearance or blotches. So again, you can play with these, turn them up and down and see what you get. And fractality, I don't know what that one means. It sounds interesting though. Control the strength of your prompt and the intricacy per square pixel. So you have a lot of really refined tools in this one, and so that's why I think it's more expensive. Also, you have a different engine. I do not know what these differences are myself. I don't know what the technology is, and they don't seem to have too much information on it. But let's see, there's an info button so you can sell. But Illucio, better for illustration. Sharpie, better for realistic. Sparkle, good for realistic images. A middle ground between Illucio and Sharpie, and removes JPEG artifacts. So anyway, and they mention themselves too. For multiple upscales, experiment. Start with one and then try the other one and see which one you like. So that is Magnific. This one I had a subscription and then I think it gave me these points, like 2,000 points. It costs about 5 points, I think, to upscale each image. So it looks like even though it was a subscription model, it looks like I was able to just retain my points, but I'm not really sure. So there's that other image I tried in this one as well. So this one I added a lot of creativity, and you can see what happened to this guy. So there he was. in his low resolution version, and then I tried creativity on 10 and he got kind of hairy and like weirdly creepy, like cobwebs growing on him or something. So, and also turned the resemblance down so it's not similar to the original image. And then this one is one that I was going to show you in Visual Electric that I had upscaled and I wanted sort of high fidelity. But this one I put more creativity on. So it was an image of like a dandelion with dandelions growing on it. And then when I put high creativity, it turned it into like a waterfall with stones and rocks and stuff. So really kind of unusual, weird. So the creativity can really just change your image entirely, depending on what you want. And for me, like I say, usually I don't want that, but if you did want that, then you can use that too. And then last tool I'll show you is the Visual Electric. So this is my canvas where I had put that image, that same image of the dandelion on there. And once again, this is an image that I dragged from my desktop onto the canvas in Visual Electric. And then it kind of makes up a prompt. I find these backward generated prompts to not work very well. So I always like to double check them and, revise them depending on what, it ends up saying here. But you can always just, default it and see what happens and see if you get what you're looking for. That's also under Remix. So the way you do upscale in Visual Electric is you go under Detailed Upscale, and it did autofill a prompt because it took my image and it makes a prompt, but I'm just going to take the prompt out, and give it no prompt whatsoever. And then say low creativity. No, I'm actually trying to get this thing to be just bigger, but not different. And then we can take a look at what I pre-made a bunch of them because I realized that with these upscales, it actually takes a little while for them to process. So I didn't want us to have a lot of dead space while the images are generating. So we'll see what we get on this one. It should be similar to the other one that I had made before, but I think I might have had the creativity up a little bit on these ones. This one we can also try and see what it does if we do, whoops, not make variations. I want to go to Detailed Upscale, can add creativity, and then I'll leave its prompt in there and see what happens if I say, give me 3 times as big and your auto prompt, and see if it makes something that's completely different or if it's actually pretty similar. So I haven't used this one very much, again, because it's relatively new. And I do like my gigapixel because I'm usually trying to get really high, close to the original image, pretty good fidelity. So I'll let those process through. And then, as I mentioned, there is one more tool, which, again, I haven't tried it. I just happened upon this when I was looking for Claire's tweet. And she mentioned that she liked Krea.ai, and it's a free something that will upscale. So I haven't tried it at all. But you can see their image here where it's a very pixelated image and then it kind of crisps everything up. So give it a shot. Let me know how it goes. So yeah, I would probably start with this. Oh, sign up or log in. So they're going to ask you who you are, but other than that, you should be able to give this a shot for free. So see how that goes. What's it say over here for pricing? Yeah, free daily generation. So it looks like you can do it at least one a day kind of thing. So, and I think some of these tools are similar where you can use it for a limited amount on a daily basis or weekly or something. And then after that, they ask you to start paying for it. So there's my upscale. That was pretty good. Looks pretty close to the original. This one's not processed yet, or maybe the other thing I noticed is that sometimes it seems like it runs into a blockage and it just doesn't. It seems like maybe that one didn't do it. Let's try again. I love this tool though because it's just a great big canvas and it's just kind of fun to play with. Maybe I'll add a style to it and see if maybe that helps it. Photography, black and white. Try again. Oh, that's sorry. I use make variations rather than detailed upscale. I wondered why it asked me if I could add a prompt. Okay, let's do 3 times again and creativity at 100%. Let's see what happens. We can get that one to. But yeah, that's why I pre-made a bunch of images because they're a little bit unreliable at times. I found it. It could be my browser or something, my connection. And yes, you can. There's a question. Can you upscale with Midjourney? You can upscale with Midjourney. And it used to be you upscaled it, it was still pretty tiny. I have not used Midjourney's latest upscalers, but I noticed that it says upscale by 2 times and upscale by 4 times. I would imagine upscaling by 4 times is going to give you a pretty decent resolution image. But yeah, you could try it, so a lot of these tools, and by the way, I'm just showing you these 3 tools, 3.5. This Creo I'm not really showing you because I haven't used it myself, but I'm showing you these because these are the ones I know about and I've at least tried once or twice. But yeah, within almost any tool these days, there is an upscaler because, like I say, the AI tools tend to create the images that they show you because they're making so many images, they tend to be relatively small, and so upscaling became an important factor for all the AI images. But yeah, give Midjourney a shot. It might be better than taking a Midjourney image into another program. So Midjourney might have greater fidelity to your original image when it upscales it. So you can check that out and see what happens. I've gotten pretty good results with Midjourney with the upscaling that they had before, which was just called upscale, and it didn't say that the percentage or the multiple that you got. This one was my variations that I got on that one. I can see how it doesn't quite retain the original quality of this, because this one was made in Midjourney. Oh, this one might be coming up there. Maybe that's processing, but as you can see, it takes a little while sometimes to do these upscales. So it's thinking a lot. It's using a lot of intelligence to do them. So is there anything else that I can answer for you about anything with regards to upscaling images? Thank you so much for your comments and questions in the chat. Not too much here. Anything else I can answer for you? You're very welcome, Martina. This is the one with creativity added. I actually like that. Nice. It gave it a little bit, it's more similar in quality, even though what I was saying to it was add more creativity. It actually seems like it's more, has a greater fidelity on this one than that one, right? This one is kind of, it looks too harsh, right? It doesn't quite look like a photograph, it looks like a drawing almost. But this one looks more like the original photograph. So that's great. That's a really nice upscale. So every image is going to be different. Every image, try it in different tools with different amounts of upscale with different settings until you find the one that gives you the right qualities for whatever image it is that you're attempting to upscale. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I'm seeing some thank yous in the chat. We're almost out of time. And thank you all for joining and your attention. And good luck with everything. Give it a shot and see how it goes. And show me your results. Look for me on social and show me what you got. Bye for now.